Yes, yes. Hello, and everybody. Welcome. Good evening. Hope you're all well. I'm not. Got a lot to get off my chest. Obviously, Ruben Amorim, we lost again against Brentford. Early kickoff on Saturday. So early kickoffs on Saturday. Yeah, when you lose, especially right early on in the day, yeah, ruins your whole weekend of watching football. Yeah, can't watch any of the games afterwards without a headache. I genuinely got a headache. Yeah, from just after that game right up until I went to sleep on that Saturday night. Just Man United, they just keep doing it, man. They just keep finding ways when you think you've hit lows and you're bouncing back, keep finding a way to just drag you back to the bottom. But yeah, excuse me. Obviously a lot of stories have come out since. To be honest, I've kind of been trying to keep away from the media as much as I can. It's not honestly, it's not even good for my mental health at this point. Yeah, United honestly ruined. I turned 30 on Friday. It ruined my birthday weekend with that loss, as per ruining weekends is part of the Man United thing. But yeah, just be a quick one today. Obviously, it's a solo one with me. I want to get into the Amorim debate. Obviously, everyone's saying it's time to go, and I hear that. To be honest, I can't really argue against a lot of those things because the excuses are running out for Amorim. Like at the end of the day, the preseason excuse was used a lot. He had a preseason with these players. He had time to work with them, and obviously I've been Amorim in, and I'm still not Amorim out. And obviously I'll go into the reasons why I don't think we should sack him, and it's not necessarily because of Amorim himself. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, the excuses are running out. The preseason excuse is running out. The fact that he didn't have any chance to sign players, that excuse is running out. The fact that he hasn't had much time, that excuse is running out. He's been here almost a year now, and we're just not seeing any progress. It feels like we're in exactly the same place that we were when he took us over. Really, when I'm looking on the pitch and just watching us play, I don't think I can see many positives in what he's doing, and he, to be honest, probably deserves to go. Like if you're just looking at his track record, what he's done, the points he's picked up, the amount of games we played, the amount of games we've lost at home, just at home. Forget about the ones away. But our home record's poor, our away record's poor, our defensive record is poor. We're shipping goals like no man's business. We're not scoring many goals. And yeah, it looks like we're making the same mistakes to lose games, which is why it's kind of I'm on to him now. Because bro, at the end of the day, if I'm seeing different mistakes every week that are happening and the last mistake's getting solved, I'll be like, you know what, fair enough. Maybe this guy's working with them. He's doing something. But I'm seeing the same mistakes happening every week. And another excuse that was big on him was the goalkeeper excuse. The goalkeeper excuse was, there was two keepers there. No, I'm buying there. Clearly, neither of them were very good. He didn't sign either of them. And the excuse was, obviously, we need to get to the summer so we can sign a keeper. We get to the summer, the reports were that he wanted Emi Martinez, whatever. We didn't get him. We ended up getting Lamens. And since he's come, he ain't played. I'm hearing stories about the Iron Dome, this and that, but this guy ain't played. Like, at that point, it's kind of on you, Amorim. Like, you signed a keeper, you've got him, and he's not playing. What's going on? Like, we're still seeing the same mistakes from Bayende as we were seeing in the first week of the season. Flappy hands, palming the ball into his 6-yard box. Things I've been complaining about so much, like on this podcast, on previous weeks when I've been talking to Zayn and Ethan, I've been saying to them, we're seeing the same elementary mistakes from Bayende, palming the ball into his own 6-yard box, straight into danger, rather than getting it away, which is what like I said, you'd probably tell most even 8-year-old keepers that you'd coach at grassroots level, you'll tell them, don't palm the ball back into danger. Yeah, but anyway, unfortunately, that message hasn't been getting across. Amorim hasn't got the message across to Bayindia, and Bayindia's still playing. So at that point, that's on him. Now, obviously, like I said, the same mistakes are happening, and if they're not changing, that's going to fall back down to the manager. Just get into the comments real quick. Got one right here from H1. Welcome back. His stubbornness is what's going to get him sacked. I agree, and this is what I was saying about the mistakes. It's the same mistakes that consistently happening now. I'm seeing every single week. You know, how can H1 says, how can you get players to buy into your system when nothing's working? That's actually another big reason I'm worried for him. And although I don't want him to get sacked, and I will get into the reasons why I don't want him to get sacked. I'm having Mustafa there with a chat. What reason can he have for not being sacked? I will get into the reasons. But yeah, one of the reasons is going back to that last comment from H1. How can you get players to buy into your system when nothing's working? That's another thing that I'm getting worried about. At the end of the day, it's getting to the point where I'm like, if you don't win games, it's gonna get harder and harder for the players to trust you week in, week out. These instructions that you're giving these players, they're not working. You're not winning games. So if you're not winning games, eventually these players are going to start to lose faith in you. And you're starting to see it already. You've seen a couple of reports today. I saw one from Luckhurst saying, you know, the players are surprised about how quickly they've spiraled, and you know, they're worried about, you know, what's going on under Amorim, and the you know, dressing room sources admit the squad is dispirited after the defeat to Brentford, as you should be. And all of this doesn't fall down to Amorim. The players also, obviously, yeah, Amorim, you know, takes the majority of the blame, 100%. But you know, at the end of the day, the players need to have some professional pride as well. Like, it's not all on the manager. He's not your, you know, he's not like, it's not like FIFA where man sat here controlling 11 players, telling them how to play football. Like, I made this analogy in the match review. Like, if you're a manager or something, you're just there to manage and make sure the things that are already working, you know, don't mess up. And if they do mess up, those components that do mess up, you change them. But you don't, like, if, for example, if you're an IT manager, you come into a room full of computers, you look after that room of computers. If anything goes wrong in those computers, you replace them. But you don't need to teach a computer how to be a computer. You don't need to come in as an IT manager for a company and start, you know, building computers from scratch. That's not what you do. And the same way, Amorim shouldn't have to come in and teach these players to pass 5 yards, or buy in there to, like I said, not palm the ball into a 6-yard box, or, you know, these silly mistakes we're seeing on the pitch. Even though we saw them at Brentford as well, players slipping and sliding all over each other, you know, tackling each other, running into each other. These are silly mistakes. I think I can't really put on the manager, no, so to say. I know he's not telling them to do that on the training ground. So, you know, at the end of the day, the players have to take some responsibility there. But at the end of the day, it does come down to the manager, and these results and the way he's been playing are gonna get him sacked. It will be just a matter of time if he carries on like this. But you know, again, just quickly go into the comments before I go into the reasons why I think he shouldn't go and why we shouldn't sack him. If it doesn't change anything, we're going to be in a relegation battle. It's not going to magically click. H191 says. Mohammed Mustafa says, also, if United are waiting to sack him to save 8 million, then that's cheap. Well, yeah, I don't know if you know about United, but that's what we're on now, isn't it? We're cheap. We're moving cheap. Yeah, H1 says yes, but as a manager, you need to motivate the players, and that will make them run non-stop. I hear you, but you know, if a motivated set of players are running into each other, that's still not the manager's fault. Like, my point is, like, these things that, like, you shouldn't have to rely on motivation to do the bare minimum of being able to pass 5 yards and not run into players, and like not, you know, header a ball and like challenge for a ball. Like, these things, I get, obviously, and the manager has something to say about that, but you know, come on, bro. Like, do you think Roy Keane would not challenge for a ball just because he's not motivated? I know we don't have no Roy Keanes, but that's our problem. Like, players need to take some sort of professional responsibility and pride and be like, you know what? We need to challenge harder. We need to work harder as well. We need to not run into each other, and we need to get these play. You know, it's little things with United. Like, I feel like when we're playing a pass, we always play the pass just a yard behind the player or just a yard in front of the player, so the player has to speed up or slow down to get it. It's never just right in his path like you see on most teams. Like, it's little things like that I'm talking about, that I feel like that's not Amorim's fault. Like, and you can't rely on motivation for that to happen. Some days you're not motivated. It's not an excuse to have a bad day at work. You still got to go and do your thing, bro. Like, it's a job for them at the end of the day. They get paid a lot of money, shouldn't be reliant on motivation for them, like, at the end of the day. But anyway, Ernst says, what about the components he changes have also stopped working, and the few that were there, that were working are now not working, along with the broken ones. Whose job is it to set the mentality of the team? Of course, I agree with that. It's the manager's job, and yeah, that falls down to him at the end of the day. But I don't think these things are a mentality issue, honestly. Yeah, and sorry, going on to H1's comment. Yes, but don't forget these players are internationals and perform for their country. Even more so as to why they're international players, bro. You can pass 5 yards, bro. You can pass 5 yards. You can play the pass in someone's book. Like, I feel like what you're saying there, H1, that these players are internationals, only backs my point that they should be able to do basics. I'm not asking them to do anything crazy. If Bayindir is an international, he should know, don't palm the ball into your 6-yard box. That's a basic. I'm not asking for some Pep Guardiola mad coaching here, bro. That's a basic, bro. We got Imagined says sack him. Yep. Bro, don't sit on the fence, man. You know what I mean? Jesus. Ant says overthinking due to overcoaching. None of them are sure about what they're doing on the pitch. Momo stuff says United players have been putting in have been putting effort this season. I agree. Passes are misplaced because no one understands where anyone's supposed to be. Maybe, but I think just generally, if you look up and you see a player, like these passes aren't going blind, right? You look up, you see a player, you still play the pass wrong. That's on you, bro. That's not the formation issue, in my opinion. But anyway, go back to the reasons as to why we shouldn't sack him. Guys, if you're new here, by the way, like, share, make sure you subscribe. We're a new United channel, and obviously, yeah, the depression is real. So join us for some free therapy here. But yeah, anyway, going back to the reason why I don't think we should sack him, because basically, bro, up until now, what has that actually like solved for us? And like I know, yeah, we're just like technically we have to just keep sacking until we get it right. I do hear it, but listen, Man United for a long while, and I don't think anybody could convince me otherwise, but Man United have had a lot of deeper issues than just the players and the manager. And I think that's something that I think we've proven over quite a long while now. Since Rangnick made his, well reported, documented speech about open heart surgery, how we need to get 10, 11 players and all of that, blah, blah, blah. We've sacked 2 different managers. Yeah, brought 2 different managers in and sacked them. We've also gutted the squad twice. We've got I think we've got like 15 new players since Rangnick's made that thing. But we're still seeing the same issues and the same problems that we were seeing under all of these other managers that we're now seeing under Ruben Amorim. I said this when we were about to sack Ten Hag, and cool, Ten Hag probably deserved to go. But again, I was saying this under Ten Hag, the problem is bigger than him. Even if he is a big problem, you got to get rid of him. I agree. But the problem is bigger than him. And for me, I think the issue isn't that all of these managers are just tactically inept. I don't believe that they're all just unbelievably stupid. Maybe Ten Hag had it. Maybe one out of the 4 or 5 of them might have been, right? Ten Hag might have been. But I don't believe Mourinho. Don't know what he's doing. Ten Hag don't know what he's doing. Ollie don't know what he's doing. Like, I can't believe all of them don't know what they're doing. It just doesn't make sense to me. How do you get in that position in the first place if you don't know what you're doing? Ruben Amorim, again, you're not going to win, 2 league titles with Sporting and whatever. I know it's not the Premier League, but still, none of us sat here right now can just walk into Sporting and win a league title. It takes, some sort of managerial ability. They're not the biggest club in Portugal. You must do something. You haven't got the biggest budget in Portugal. You come into a team that had a sporting dressing room that was on fire, a club hierarchy that was on fire. He come in, dealt with all of that, dealt with, like I said, having a smaller budget than the rest of the teams he was competing with, and still managed to win more than one league as well. It wasn't just a fluke. You got managers in this league right now, like Marco Silva, for example, that was at Sporting before him and failed. So it's not something that just any manager can do. Marco Silva is actually one of the names we're being linked with right now. And I'll get into the names later on as well of the people we're being linked with and all of that, and talk about, why, you know, I'll let people get involved in the chat in the comments as well to say, you know, reasons as to who and why we should get him. But so personally, yeah, going into the season, I personally believe the biggest problem at United was the culture, right? I've spoken to people in the chat currently about this. Yeah, I think the biggest problem going into the season was the culture. We've got a decent crop of players now. Obviously, we've got a new hierarchy at the club. We pretty much sacked everyone other than Colette Roach since Ineos have come in. There's been a whole new boardroom, new scouting system, so on and so forth. Everything's new, right? These things now take some time to bed in, to actually see the results of these things. Personally, sorry, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought. We've sacked everybody. We've got a new manager. And that's it. Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim is now coming with the task of building a new culture, right? That's I think been his biggest job. I think build a new culture for this team and get us challenging back to the top, right? Because we've always had good players. Now we've got good players, yes, but if you look at all of these squads that United have had in the past 10 years, we've had good players in them squads. Having good players isn't our problem. Like everyone said, the problem is deeper than the players. Yeah, it's bigger than that. So Ruben Amorim comes in to build a new culture. How long do you think building a new culture is going to take? It might take longer than 10 months. It might take longer than a year. A lot of these people that are saying we need a reset, we need a cultural reset. How long do you think that takes? Man can't sit there and you're not going to do that overnight. You might need 2, 3, 4 transfer windows to actually do that properly. And before you do that, you might actually, like, if you're really going to back him and say, you know, let's reset and let's do this, it takes longer than a couple of games to do that. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I don't think you sack him. And in fact, I think the culture that we had on the plate, people like Fergie, for example, that's the culture you want to get back to, right? I think we can all agree on that. Obviously, I hate to think back to, you know, great times on the Fergie and that, but the truth is we want to get back to a culture as close to that as possible. Winning titles, going far in the Champions League, having a culture of not messing about, you know, taking your training seriously, all of that, right? What happened was when we got rid of, obviously, when Fergie left, and we got Moisey in. Moyes came, tried to build a culture. We sacked him. That didn't work. The next man comes along. Van Gaal tried to build a culture. We sacked him early. That never ended up materializing. We ended up getting Louis Van Gaal, Mourinho after him. He came in. Obviously, we know Mourinho is never there for long enough, so his culture was never going to last either. So you've gone now in completely another direction. Now you've went and got, after him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a completely different direction. Another culture is now trying to be built. As soon as there's a little bit of difficulty under, what do you call it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, get rid of him, right? The next man comes in, Ranić, talks about how he should be setting a culture and how he's going to move upstairs, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work. That culture is not set. Again, that gets break down and you move again. Every time you end one of these cultures that are about to build, you're pulling the rug from underneath the club. And I think you're getting further and further away from the initial culture of what we as a team, Man United, want to be, which is a culture of winning. And that takes a long time to build. It doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't just also fall down to the manager. And I think every single time you sack a manager, you're getting further and further away from a culture being built. And cultures also aren't built in 10 months. Now, yeah, that's one of my biggest reasons. But I'll get into the comments. Guys, there's 8 people watching now. If you're new, get involved, obviously, in the chat, in the comments. Let me know what you think. Obviously, am I just chatting shit? Am I just completely gassed? Like, what does it take for me to actually say, you know what, this guy needs to go? But yeah, get involved in the chat. Talk to me. Please, obviously, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Just going to get into some of these comments. So, you know, so Ernst says the system and the formation are different things. Glasner and Amorim play the same formation in different ways. Yeah, they do. I'll get into Glasner in a little bit. I don't really want Glasner, bro. Like, I'll get into potential solutions anyway, moving on, because, like, we are going to need to, like, if he carries on the way he is, he's going to get sacked, whether I like it or not. So, you know, it's drastic what's happening. So what is keeping him in solve? I think it's relatively low risk, potentially very high reward, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to get relegated. I don't think he's going to do a madness. Really, his remit of failure is not getting Europe. And I think even in the past 5 games, he's won 2, lost 2, drawn 1. It's like very average, right? And people are worried that we're not going to get Europe, maybe whatever. We're not going to be challenging with the elite. But we're at least, I think, finishing the top 10. We're not having a season like last season under Amorim. So what does keeping him actually solve? If, and this is a big if, because I'm not saying this will definitely happen, by the way. It might not. And I'm well aware that it might not. But if it does click, right, in November, in December, and we suddenly go on a really good run from now towards the end, from then towards the end of the season, and suddenly we're looking amazing. We finish in the top 6. Everything's bliss. Amorim's great. We back him again in the summer, and we'll see what happens. I think if not, what happens is we sack him, and we either get an interim now until the end of the season, or we go out and try getting Iraola or Glasner or whatever, blah blah blah, and then we've got Amorim Mark II again, in the sense of he's starting again with players that he might want, he might not want, whatever. In the middle of the season, all the problems that Man United had, they still have under this new manager. We still haven't really got a great keeper. We still haven't really got a great midfield. If Glasner tries to come in and plays 3-4-3 right now in this midfield won't cut it. So he's going to have the same problems. We're not solving any of these actual issues by getting rid of the manager. It's just a reactionary thing you can do when you're angry. I think getting rid of the manager, what does that actually solve? If a manager comes in, there's no guarantee he's going to do better than Amorim right now. Like every single manager that we've hired in the past 10 years, we've said it can't be worse than the last one. And almost every single time, we were wrong. It was worse than the last one. Every single time. Like every single time. So, and every single time, we've also looked back after a few years and been like, maybe we should have given that guy more time. Maybe we should have given Ollie more time. Maybe we should have given Van Gaal more time. Maybe we should have given Moyes more time. I've heard it for all of our managers. We shouldn't have sacked Mourinho. We should have kept him and backed him. I've heard it for every single one. Amorim, I can't lie. He's the worst of the bunch. This guy's record stinks. It absolutely stinks. I'm not sitting here defending his record. This guy stinks. Like what he's doing right now is atrocious. But I don't think sacking him solves any of the issues that we've got up like right now. Like I said, don't solve our midfield issue. Don't solve our whatever style of play or whatever. All it does is even if you play a 4 at the back right now, you put a midfield of what Kobe and Casemiro and Bruno. That midfield two ain't got legs behind Bruno. They're gonna get found out too. It's not good enough. Like I don't know, but anyway, sorry. Moving on. You can't judge him the same way. He's the first Ineos manager, and we did the open heart surgery. I hear that. And says, look at what they've done since leaving United. None of them are setting the world on fire. I hear that. I hear that too. Most says the culture he's building is a losing one. It's becoming too regular. I agree with that, like massively. At the end of the day, the culture he's building, I think I'm more talking like off the pitch, because on the pitch, he's done nothing to build anything. We're going backwards there for sure. But off the pitch, I'm more talking, that's the culture I'm talking about. They're trying to build something off the pitch. And I'm hoping, up until even after the first game of the season, we were hearing so much good stuff about Amorim. Oh, players are so excited to play under him, and so on and so forth, and blah blah blah. You heard Brian Mbeumo saying, "Yeah, I talked to the manager on the phone. I really wanted to work under him." Blah blah blah. Like there was a lot of optimism, and it's changed very quickly, obviously, because he ain't won enough games. But at the same time, obviously, the Brentford loss is the only loss I can really say is super disappointing. The City Arsenal losses aren't for me. They're it's something that is very, very understandable to happen, considering where we have been, where we are now. I think those games came very early in the season as well. Even Opta looked at our fixtures and said we've had the hardest fixture list, since out of all the teams in the Premier League. So we've got a hard fixture list. We've got a hard start. We've got an easy run coming up too. So just let him have that run. If he does something catastrophically bad, fair enough, sack him. We've got a good run of games coming up, and I'm going to go into them in a second. So, yeah, Ernst says, I'm not asking him to win the league. I'm asking him to win a few games in a row. Come on, brother. This guy's of course he's not Fergie. SM says, give him more time. Trolling, of course. So he's an opposition fan. Even some more draws would be all right, but 17 losses and 33 is a criminal record. Bro, I can't defend that record anymore. Guys, if you're new here, by the way, I can see there's quite a lot of people watching. Like the video, please subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of United content coming up. We got another front coming tomorrow as well. And yeah, we're also looking for some Sunderland fans to interview on the channel as well. Looking forward to looking to our game at Old Trafford on Saturday. So yeah, like I said, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Yeah, shout out everybody in the chat as well. Appreciate you lot. Culture of players is set up in the dressing room. It says H1. He's by far the worst out of all of those people you've listed. Ant says he's lost half the games he's managed in the league, my man. H1 says you can't build any culture by losing, especially at United. You've lost 3 out of 6. I hear that. Stinks. Michael Carrick is interim manager. I've heard worse. Ant says nothing from his body of work shows that he's going to achieve any of that. I hear you. It's full hopium right now. There's nothing else. It's just hope. But again, like I said, the risk and the reward, he might do, and it might be great. And if not, we're going to end up sacking him anyway. And the season's going to be done. Like, we're not going to, I don't think anyone right now is worth going for and getting like, I think that might even like hinder our chances of actually getting a good manager that we might be able to build with if you do want to sack him. And I'll get to that. If you do want to sack him, I still think you shouldn't sack him now. And I'll get to that, right? Again, I wasn't saying that was reactionary, but because of the thingy, I was saying like the win-loss. I feel like at the end of every game, whether it's a win or a loss, there's a big reaction at the moment with this guy until he goes on a run of games, and that's going to continue to happen. I can't back a manager who this stubborn to play a system. He's got no buy-ins after 30 plus games. I hear that. Chesterton says, big up Mazin, bro. Sacking the manager makes absolutely no difference. You played 4-3-3 last season. It was terrible. So I hear that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I've seen us we've been getting worse and worse, like progressively. Every time we sack a manager, we don't even get a new manager bounce. Like Brighton get a new manager in or whatever. Hertzler comes in, new manager bounce. When Emery came in, got a new manager bounce. When you can name any of these managers that come in, they get a new manager bounce straight away. Glasner comes in, gets a new manager bounce. None of our managers come in and get a new manager bounce. Rude came in, got a bit of a new manager bounce, and that's it. Amorim came in, drew his first game at Ipswich. I don't think these clubs, like, we're not set up like these other clubs. So I don't think sacking the manager is a problem. Like, the managers, yeah, it might be, but I think right now it might cause more problems. Toxic positivity, what the fuck is this? You know what? I'm not even being positive. Genuinely not even being positive. Like, if you've been watching the video, I've been cussing this guy out. He stinks. His record stinks, and I can't defend it. He's not been good. I'm talking sacking him now. There's no good managers available, right? In November. You want to go and get an Iraola or thingy, whatever. I'll get into these other options, but I don't think there's any good managers out of a job in October, bro. Like, what are we going to do? Who are we going to go and get? Look at the names we're being linked with. Southgate, is that who you want? Is that your king? Like, I'm sorry that bro, nah. Just nah, move. I'm moving to the next one. He struggles more against the easy teams. Bro, this guy struggles against everyone. He struggles against himself. This guy I feel like he struggles to get out of bed in the morning. And he's struggling everywhere. Everywhere. We had an easy team now. Every team looks at us as a winnable game. And you know what it is? The Premier League, over the time that we've got worse, the Premier League has got better. Like, all these teams are good. Like, every season, the quality of the Premier League is improving and the quality of Man United is decreasing. And that's why we're seeing, like, it's embarrassing, but that's true. Like, under many different managers, but might I add, by the way. Honestly, I wouldn't trust that board to replace him. I hear it. I mean, look at like I said, the people that we're being linked with. Southgate. What does it take to sack him? Again, something catastrophic. Wait until we know we're not getting Europe with this guy. We're 6 games in. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna do it, but it's bro. Things can change in football. I've seen crazier things happen, and Amorim now figuring it out. Like I said earlier in the video, he's making the same mistakes constantly. And if you don't stop making these mistakes, he is gonna get sacked. It's a matter of time. It's a definite. But he also might learn from those mistakes. And I think all managers, especially young managers like Ruben Amorim, coming to a Premier League, a league they don't know. If he came in and under different circumstances, he'd be allowed to make these mistakes a lot more. But like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I would say fair enough. If you're gonna sack him, but I wouldn't sack him now. I'd rather have no manager than him. By the way, guys, get involved in the chat and the comments and let me know who would you get in if you were to sack him then. Because I'm gonna go through these names and show you why it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as just sacking him and you got these man. These man want Southgate. It's hilarious. I hear that, bro. Southgate. Like, is that what that's what we're working with right now? Like, that is what we're working with. You're going for a Southgate, or like I said, put your people in the chat, innit? Put your people in the chat. So yeah, Chesterton says you've reached final, semi-finals. You got results against the big teams. So this tells me the team decides to turn it off and on when they want, with multiple managers, 100%. And you know what? Maybe Amorim hasn't been able to solve that problem, right? I hear it, but that's a problem that I don't think gets solved just by sacking Amorim necessarily. And even saying that, it's not even a problem that gets solved by sacking the players, because we have sacked the players and got new players in, and it's still happening. So that means there's something deeper than that as well. It's something deeper than just the players and the manager at this point. Chesterton again says, you actually sign good players. They only turn shit at Man United. It must have something to do with the board than the constant managers. He also goes on to say, I can't believe there's more chat about Amorim than Ineos. Poor decisions from them. I hear that. Very poor decisions. And they're going to be under the magnifying glass as well, especially if Amorim turns out to not work. Because that's what, £12 million you're going to have to spend to get rid of Amorim. You spent £10 million to bring him in. You spent £5 million to bring in Ashworth. However much million to sack him. Man was on gardening leave for longer than he was at the club. All of this stuff is going to now fall back down onto Ineos eventually. So, yeah. He got gifted a season. H1 says, we were all patient last season because Ten Hag left a joke of a team. And Chesterton said, Amorim clearly said, I can't join now. United insisted if he had to join. And if the manager isn't convinced, why insist? Move on. I hear that. The mistake was made getting Amorim in last November, right? And you know what the actual initial mistake was made? And this is actually a great point. Thank you, Chesterton. This is what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah, another angle as to why we should not sack a guy. Because last season, the board made the mistake of giving Ten Hag a preseason, money to spend, and then deciding to sack him in November, right? If they wanted to sack him, and all the fans that wanted to sack him at the end of the season, whatever, they should have sacked him at the end of the season if they weren't convinced because of last season. That decision should have happened in the summer. Mistake number one, right? Mistake number two from Ineos then comes from by giving this guy money, right? And giving him a preseason and trusting in him and saying, we're going to give you a backing here because we want you to do well. And then now getting to what? We're not even out of September yet. And man is saying it's untenable. He has to get sacked. I think that would be mistake number three, because you now done exactly the same thing that you did last season with Ten Hag, which would maybe equal mistake number four of making exactly the same mistake again from Ineos. So, bro, I don't think sacking anybody and bringing in a manager right now, I don't even think giving the next manager we're bringing in a good opportunity to succeed. And I'll talk about the next manager after this comment. So, Carrick interim and go all out for Nagelsmann in the summer. I kind of agree with that. You know what? That's a good point to just go on to my last point. Before I start getting towards the end of the live, yeah. But yeah, like I said, put in your people in the chat that you think will take over Man United if I'm gonna get sacked, and I'm gonna tear them apart right now, yeah. So look, the people that I'm seeing being linked with right now are Glasner, Xavi, Southgate, Iraola. A lot of people that are saying, they want the Premier League proven, so you should go for one of Glasner or Iraola. Last season, Oliver Glasner, and by the way, I think he's a good manager. But last season, Oliver Glasner with Crystal Palace had the worst start to the Premier League season in Crystal Palace's history. Oliver Glasner at the helm. Yeah? If he had that start at Man United, how many Man United fans do you think would be in the chat right now telling me he's clueless, he needs to go, right? In Ndoni Iraola, let's look back at when he started at Bournemouth. Anybody remember that stinking run of games he had? Yeah? The guy couldn't get points at speed camera. But you want me to, again, if he was at Man United, it was at Bournemouth, and man was saying, yo, this guy needs to go. It's not gonna work, this new style of play that he's trying to implement. But they stuck with it. And when it clicked and it never stopped working, right? Again, with Glasner, he's come from Crystal Palace and he's playing a very defensive style of football. Do you think he comes at Man United and suddenly everyone forgives that? No. And also, he comes to try to play that defensive style of football at Man United with the current midfielders we currently have, because, by the way, he ain't getting another one until July. Yeah? So he tries to play defensive football with the players we have right now. How do you think he's going to do? Not well, son. I'll tell you that for free. Because we're going to probably play a double pivot of Casemiro Ugarte in this if he does play this 3-4-3. And it just stinks, in my opinion. I don't think any manager coming in right now is going to have a good shot, a real good shot at it. If you want to sack him, fair enough, cool. We've already decided, Ineos have already decided to give him the season. So give him the season. If it gets really untenable, sack him in February, March, whatever, get an interim to the end of the season if it's really untenable. But there's no point of giving him the opportunity to come and have the whole season and work with work in the preseason, whatever, and sign some new players. And there's no point of doing all of that if you're going to sack him in September. There's no point, because, like, I think you're just, although, most people can probably be sure now that, we're not good enough or whatever, under him, there's still a slight chance that it might work out. And I think, what are we rushing for? Like, where are we going? Like, why sack him and go where? Like, what are we in a rush to achieve? This team is a top 6 team at best. Top 6 teams don't win every week. Top 6 teams win 2 games, lose 3 games, win 2 games, lose a game here, win another 2 games here, 3. Like, that's what top 6 is. Don't be comparing yourself to Arsenal and City and Liverpool. These teams are the teams that are winning or should be winning week in, week out. They're at that standard. We're not there, and we haven't been there for a long time. So Man United aren't going to do that. Based on what we've done at the beginning of the season, it's not been good enough. But to be honest, the only result that's genuinely been absolutely diabolical is the Brentford result. The City result wasn't great either. But I don't know. Me personally, I just think, like, I don't know where we're in a rush to get to, personally. Like, I think if it was up to me, I'd give him until maybe, like I said, January. Let him have that easy run of games we got after Tottenham. We got like Wolves, Palace, West Ham, blah blah blah. Let him have that easy run of games, and then if he really still can't pull it out of the bag, maybe sack him in January, get interim to the end of the season. Summer where all the proper managers are available. Don't make the same mistake you made last season by going to get, because if you sack him you sack him in November, what managers are available? It's only ones from from smaller clubs that haven't achieved anywhere what they should have achieved to be at Man United that you can go and get, or is managers that have been sacked already from another club and aren't currently in a job right now. They're the options you have right now in October if you sack him. So which bin are you going to go into? Or you go and get an interim until the end of the season. And that's a Darren Fletcher, whatever, Ollie or Giggsy, whoever, whatever. And you do that to the end of the season, you have absolutely no expectation about what they might or might not achieve. And there's also no guarantee that they don't get us relegated. They don't do it even worse, by the way. So you're still taking a risk by doing that and hoping that the next one's going to be better than the last one. But that's what we did last time, and it turned out to be a mistake. So let's just calm down. Stop making the same mistake. If the season's done, season's done. Wait till the summer. The proper managers are available. After the World Cup, go get a Julian Nagelsmann. Assess your options. You got time. You got that whole World Cup as well in the summer where you can look at all of these managers. You can interview them. You could talk to them, whatever. You got plenty of time. You can literally go to almost any club in the summer and say to their manager, we want you to come and be the lead of the rebuild at Man United, and they'll probably accept, because in the middle of the summer where they've got time to think about it, they're going to have a preseason where they can come in and work with the players. They're going to have a transfer window that they're going to be able to come and reinforce the squad in. And I guarantee you, your breadth of options will be so much bigger in the summer that it's not worth going for a subpar option like an Oliver Glasner or a Gareth Southgate right now. And getting an interim for now until the end of the season, bro, that's not an interim. That's a manager, bro, for the whole season. We've still got like 30 games left. Like, what? So just chill. Like, anyway, I'm gonna get into the comments. Get into the comments. It looks like a nice little chat's been brewing in here. So yeah, Aunt says you want him to stay. You wanted him to stay. The fans were writing open letters begging for Ten Hag. Ineos folded on their first big decision. Yep, they did. Yeah, facts. I agree. You'd be making exactly the same mistake as before, and that's what I'm saying. Everyone is literally crying right now. United fans are literally head and hands crying over the fact that we shouldn't have brought Amorim in November. If we're going to bring him in, we should have brought him in the summer. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Those same United fans right now are telling me, go and do the exact same thing that I was complaining about last. You're just going to handicap the next manager. That's all you're doing. We've given Amorim 11 months. Trust me, the fans are more than patient. I'm not saying they're impatient. I'm saying wait till the summer. Just because you waited like 6 months, 6 games into this season doesn't mean we're patient. Wait till the summer, have some proper patience, and we can get a proper good manager. That's my point. The longer we wait, the better managers will be available. Glasner and Uri both had bad runs of 10 games, not 33. But at Bournemouth and at Palace, a bad run of 10 games where you can barely get a point in your first 10 games at Man United might kill you. You might never recover from that. Because Man United will eat. Bro, we've seen a difference. The difference between a club like Palace or Bournemouth and Man United. Like, bro, you serious? You can fit Bournemouth's whole stadium in the East End. This ain't the same. It's not the same. Chesterton says, Glasner would resign after 2 weeks, seeing Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte, and Menu as midfield options. That's true. Because whoever you, like, again, as I repeat, whoever you sack now, yeah, and whoever you bring in to replace him is not being able to solve any of the squad issues that we currently have, like the midfield and like the maybe fullbacks. We'll probably need a winger if they want to switch to 4 at the back because we ain't got a left winger no more. None of these problems are going to be able to be fixed until the summer. And we're going to do the same thing we did on the Amorim, which is repeat and recycle. Let's just get to the summer. We can back him properly. And then what happens a year from now, we start next season badly. He's got to go, blah, blah, blah. No, wait. There's a reason people get rid of players and managers, and a lot of things change in the summer period, because that's when people have time to assess, and make their decision properly. Do you think Ineos will hold their hand up and accept they didn't properly back Amorim in the summer window, and they go get him at least a wing back in central mid in January window to save the season? You know what? I actually do. I do think they'd back him again. I think they'd get to January and they'd try look into that midfield market. And I don't even want to say that they didn't really back him. I think Ineos did back him. I think they backed him quite well. Like, going into that summer, I thought it would be great if we signed like 2-3 players, because I thought the money we were cash strapped or whatever. Obviously, Jimmy Boy put in a little 300 million, and that balanced out the PSR and all of that. And then, whatever. They had a decent transfer window. They signed some good players. I think they solved some problems, but you can't solve all of the problems, and it's in one transfer window. So, yeah. I think come January, they will. I think they will back him a little bit more, because at the end of the day, that's good for the squad generally. And even if Amorim gets sacked, having an extra midfielder in there or an extra, especially if you go out there and get someone like on loan or something to the end of the season, or if you can, or whatever, I think that doesn't harm anybody. You don't win 2 games. Don't need to remind me, bro. Don't need to remind me. We're in a top of the table club, mid-table at best, 100%. We've won 1 game in 7. We won 7 games in 11 months. We are a top 18 team. Bab says we are a top 10 team. So it'll be normal for us to get battered by Brentford and go hammer Villa away and then lose or draw to Forest. That's what top 10 teams do. That's 100% facts. Maybe United fans aren't used to doing that because I can't lie, it's unconquered territory for me as well. As a United fan in my life, I've never had to, wait for top 10 or battle for top 10 or battle for top 8. That's never been a thing I've ever done. Do you know what I mean? If I'm anywhere near the 8th, it's a panic attack. I'm like, what's going on here? But obviously, the standards are different now. And like Baba said, if we're in the top 10, but if we're in a top 8 or whatever battle, we're gonna lose some. We're gonna lose some games. We're gonna win a game, lose a game, win a couple games, lose a couple games, draw a couple, win a couple. We're not just gonna win every week. Again, we're not at City or Arsenal or whatever, where we're gonna be where like every game we lose amounts to something. That's not what happens. And in fact, if you look at the people we're actually meant to be competing against, we're about a point off them. We're a point off Chelsea. You know, we're not too far off any of these teams. One win next weekend against Sunderland changes things again. And suddenly it looks different. Like, it's too early in the season to be making drastic decisions, I think, like that. We only win games by individuals, except one half with Chelsea. I mean, I agree and disagree. Like, I think the team's generally set up slightly better, man. I'm not gonna lie. I think like we have been. I hate to be the XG king, innit? But that's just I mean, if you do look at the underlying numbers, which I don't give a shit. I'm gonna say yeah. Under Ten Hag, people were looking at the underlying numbers and were killing me, talking about we never create any chances. We've got the lowest XG in the league out of all of the teams, blah, blah. We never, like, and then now underlying stats look good. Obviously, I hear that. It doesn't matter because my man's losing games. So it don't matter whether his underlying stats look good. But the fact is we are, and I'm seeing it with my eyes, and I go to Old Trafford. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm literally in the crowd every game. I'm watching games with no commentary, no narrative, nothing. Just looking at the players on the pitch. And I'm telling you, unless I'm blind or I'm hallucinating, the players on the pitch are performing better than they were last season, especially. And I'm not about the bar's low, but it definitely has been a massive improvement, I think. And it says season's done after 6 games. You're telling me to wait till the summer to get an interim. Wait till the summer, get an interim to steady the ship. Sorry, season's done after 6 games, and you're telling me to wait till the summer, get an interim to steady the ship. I personally wouldn't try steady the ship with an interim. I just think you're just kicking it. Yeah, what's an interim gonna do that Amorim won't do? I think Amorim would at least finish top 10. I think he will. Like, nothing in the past 6 games that I've seen shows me that he won't, other than losing to Brentford. Genuinely. And if anybody could tell me anything different, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm talking this season as well. Like I said, if you were going to bring me last season and you want to talk about last season, fair enough. But last season, we decided to back him after that. If you're going to sack him last season, based on last season, sack him in the summer. Don't wait until now and then talk to me about last season. More comments. It's just blind faith and hopium. Bro, if I went into a job in 11 months, couldn't complete a task, I'll be out. I hear that. I don't think it's as simple as to completing a task, though, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, it's getting harder and harder to back him. And I'll be honest, it's not easy to back this guy. But this performance stinks. The record stinks. The game stink. Like, I'm not sitting here telling you that Amorim is an elite manager and blah, blah. I'm not saying that. Trust me, I'm not saying that. I'm talking from a club perspective, from an outside. Like, why would you make the same mistake? Just generally morals, like life lessons. If I was teaching my daughter, don't make the same mistake you made a year ago. Don't do it. If it's exactly the same decision and last time you did it and you decided it didn't work out for you, don't do it again. I'm more talking about the timing of why we're sacking him. Don't do it now. The timing is all wrong. It's all off, in my opinion. Gone November 1st, Jim Wilson says, I mean, obviously that's been in the news a lot about he's got that 12 million that will expire on November 1st. That 12 million compensation he gets. But he said numerous times, and I don't need compensation. He's capping, bro. He's taking all of that compensation. He's taking every penny he can get. You thought in the summer you had a squad that could challenge for Europe, and now you're throwing them under the bus to make excuses for Amorim. I'm not. I'm genuinely not. I'm not. I haven't sat here today and said, oh, it's all the players' fault. I've not said that. This squad, I think, is capable of challenging for the top 8, top 6, 100%. And if Amorim falls short of that, like I said, he'll finish in the top 10. And I think he can do that, even if that, and that still is falling short, by the way. But like I said, if that's the worst that's going to happen, you might as well keep him and wait until the summer and then get a better manager that, you'll have better options for. And keep him on the slight chance that doesn't happen and he actually turns it around and, does really well. Because that's still a possibility. Chelsea said, I don't think Ineos backed him properly. He said, I think some funds were wasted on Cunha and Sesko when the midfield was the main priority. Even if you get a Cunha, a cheapish Premier League proven striker and a CM would have been good. I agree. I think, look, like I said earlier to Baba's comment, you can't always get what you want at the time, Like, you can't solve all the problems in one. Yes, we needed midfield, but I genuinely believe that we needed goals. Like, more than anything, we needed goals. And obviously, we haven't scored goals. I'm not saying I'm still waiting for them goals, by the way. But you know what I mean. But in my opinion, goals are the currency of winning games. They're the currency. I need to see goals, especially as a match-going fan. I want to see us score goals. The midfield, I was hoping Bruno could do a job in there, but to be honest, every week I'm being proven wrong because I can't lie. The guy is just, yeah, man. It's very hit and miss with Bruno at the moment. I think he's had a poor start to the season, other than maybe one game. So yeah, I do think a midfield was needed, a midfielder, maybe even a wing back as well. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just think, again, none of these problems are going to be solved by sacking Amorim. If you sack Amorim now, middle of the season, you can't. Whoever you're going to get is going to have these same issues. Even if you switch to a 4 at the back, yeah, midfield looks a little bit better on paper, but games ain't played on paper. Casemiro and Kobe doesn't have enough legs as a Premier League midfield. It's not athletic enough. The Premier League has become more and more athletic, and every season is becoming more and more athletic. There's no point. Okay, he goes to a 4 at the back as well. We need a left winger. Cunha, he might play there, yeah, whatever, but he's not really a left winger. He's more of a number 10. He's really the heir to Bruno's throne. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Guys, there's 12 people watching at least right now. And there's loads of people popping off in the chat. I appreciate everybody that's been involved today. If you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe. We're doing this all the time. So yeah, get involved in the chat and the comments. Make sure you subscribe. We really appreciate it. As an up-and-coming channel. So yeah, shout everybody out that's been involved. Every single one of you. Ernst says we finished third 2 seasons ago, but yeah, did we though? We finished third, we didn't play well. We weren't playing well. Like in fact, when we finished third, I remember talking to you about it, Ernst, and you were telling me, yeah, but we're playing crap. It's not sustainable. Eventually, it's going to break down. And you were right. It did. It broke down. It was crap, and it wasn't sustainable. But now we're putting together patterns of play that I do think look more sustainable. Obviously, the end result hasn't come in terms of them leading to goals, which then lead to wins. But there's something happening. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, just on the off chance that something might be something good, there's no rush. We're not rushing into anything right now. Like, man can't give me no one can give me any options right now about who's really good. Glasner is a risk. Areola, big, like all of these bands are big risks. In fact, I'll go as far to say none of these man's CVs were as good as Amorim's was at Sporting. Glasner winning the Europa League, I think he won the Europa League with Frankfurt, which was pretty impressive. But again, Amorim won 2 leagues with Sporting. Iraola was at Rayo Vallecano. I think I was hearing one of these journalists talking about how he was big in Spain for always being able to set up against Real Madrid and Barcelona, yeah, and get results against the big teams in Spain, even though he was Rayo Vallecano manager. We don't know if he is a good enough manager to come and be the manager of the big team. We don't know that. He's always been the manager of a small team, and he's been able to make that small team overachieve. That's what Andoni Iraola has done. And now he's done that again at Bournemouth, where he's getting big results against the big teams, and he's playing well with a team like Bournemouth, and everyone's saying, wow, what a great job he's doing. Man United is a different fish. Different kettle of fish. So, yeah. Oh, a little back and forth going there with Ernst and Chester in the chat. I like that. But yeah, Amorim is gone now. How do you feel about... Wait, what? Amorim is gone now. How do you feel about Sir Gareth Southgate? Rumours circling about thingy. Bro, listen, I've already spoken about that. Southgate stinks. I don't want him. He ain't coming to do nothing. The last time he was a club manager was at Middlesbrough, and he got him relegated, bro. Like, what? Amorim is a better option than that, in my opinion. Like, what's the point? Again, what's the point? Baba said the senior pros in our squad are already damaged with the huge losses at Liverpool and the sacking so many managers. Yeah, they are traumatized, bro. They got PTSD, fam. Post-traumatic shit disorder, fam. I mean, shit for so long, yeah, that they just keep crumbling at the slightest chance of anything bad happening to them, or any misfortune in the game, or a team taking the lead, or the other team getting a bit of momentum. They just crumble. Mentally weak individuals. 100% I agree, Baba. I literally could not have said that better myself. Very weak individuals. And yeah, man, I think a lot of that core of players need to go now. Like the Brunos, the Dallos, the Shaw, these, man, again, get rid of them. It's going to take, again, it will take someone like Amorim more than one transfer window. And I think if you would have given him unlimited funds, unlimited ability to make as many transfers as he wanted, I don't know if he would have kept all of them. And it would have been interesting to see what he actually did. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Man said patterns of play in 15th is better than being third. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying when we were third, we had no patterns of play and everyone was cussing us out for it. Now we're 15th and we have some patterns of play. Obviously, it means nothing, but you still got to take the good with the bad, even if the bad heavily outweighs the good. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that good shows me a sign of there's something happening on the training pitch, which genuinely understand how at times I thought they didn't train, like genuinely. And Baba goes, yeah, Ineos won't hire Southgate as they know the outrage among the fans will be massive. The Glazers used to do this with our signings, looking at fans' mood and liking of a player. I hear that. Yeah, Southgate ain't coming in. That's not happening. I'm pretty sure that won't happen. And if it does, boy, I guarantee you then, like, I can't imagine there'll be many things. If Amorim does eventually go, or if or when he eventually goes, I can't imagine many fans will say, you know what, we shouldn't have sacked Amorim. But if you get Gareth Southgate, that would be the one thing that does it. And just like we've been saying, we wish we didn't sack Oli, we shouldn't have sacked Mourinho, we shouldn't have sacked blah, blah, blah. We're going to be saying as well, surprisingly, I wish we didn't sack Amorim. If we go and get man like Southgate, we go and get these man, and like I said, every time we made a decision to sack somebody, to go and get somebody else that looks like a better option, they come in and do a worse job. If somebody comes in and does a worse job than Amorim now, we're going down. To be honest, so it's hard to do a worse job. But yeah, I'm gonna get these last couple of comments and then I'm gonna head out. But yeah, I think the fans would be accepting of Southgate. You know what? I don't know. I think at this point we've hit such a low that, like I said, nobody could do worse than what we've been seeing, innit? But like I said, if he does come in and do worse than what we've been seeing, we're going down. Like, no two ways about it. So Southgate has to come in and do better, which will obviously win some people over. But I don't know if that's the move. And to be honest, I'd rather keep Amorim. But anyway, people, I appreciate everyone that's been in the chat. I really, really do. You guys have really made the live, you know what I mean, worth it. So appreciate all of you lot. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, obviously. Make sure you give a like to the video. Right, man's been on live for about an hour now, man. Listen, appreciate all of you, man. Take care. Keep it locked on the channel. See you throughout the week. Peace.